Hey guys, welcome back to the Head Up Rugby League podcast. Today we're joined with Josh as always, and we've got our first Sir on the podcast, Sir Peter Leitch. How are you, man?
I'm good, brother. Good. Had a bit of a problem trying to connect, but that's, when you get old, it's not easy.
Yeah, a lot of the people in the past we've interviewed have a bit of a technical problem, so we're just glad to get you on and can't wait to
turn the volume up a little bit. It's hard for me to hear
you. Yeah, we'll try that. We'll see
right.
see if that's working.
I'll listen carefully.
What we like to do at the start of every podcast is go through a set of six quick-fire questions, and we'll just run through. So they're just yes or no, or just like first word that pops into your head sort of questions. So we'll get it started. All right, your favorite fast food?
My what?
Favorite fast food?
What? Favorite?
Fast food, like
takeaway. Fast food. I'm sorry, mate. Look, I'll go Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Oh, good choice. Good choice. All right, New South Wales or Queensland?
Queensland.
Oh, yes, good choice. Good choice. Favorite vacation spot or holiday spot?
Waiheke Island.
Oh, what a choice. What a choice. All right, your Premier predictions for 2022.
Vodafone Warriors to win the premiership.
Oh. Let's go. All right. Bring back the Biff, yes or no?
Definitely.
Oh, that's the one. And last one, your favorite music artist?
Elvis Presley, the king. You ain't nothing but a hound dog. The young fella wouldn't know that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. So we like to do a trivia at the start to sort of get our guests used to it. So obviously you're a big Warriors fan. We'll ask you, which team have the Warriors scored their most points against of all time?
I pass.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a bloody clue, mate.
That's a tough one, yeah.
Well, no, my memory's gone. So you can ask me the quiz, but I don't know how I'll do. Go on, ask me another question.
On the spot. Top point scorer for the Warriors. Give you an easy one.
God, it used to be John Kerwin at one stage. Who is it these days?
Sean Johnson.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not going to argue with you, but I'm old.
Yeah.
Do you know who John Kerwin is?
Yeah, the All Blacks. Yeah.
In actual fact, Monty Beetham had him on his show.
Yeah.
Last night. Very good interview.
Oh, yeah.
John told about coming from rugby union to rugby league. Yeah, it was very good.
All right. Starting it off, you've always been about helping other people and just wanting to throw yourself out there, throwing fundraisers, sponsoring. And in 1991, you were awarded the Queen's Service Medal for charitable work. How special was that medal to be awarded?
It was very special because it was something you don't do things to get things. You do it because you want to do it. You know what I mean? And to get recognized, was pretty special. And I always remember a particular radio host, I don't remember his name now, said on the radio, well, the Mad Butcher's finally got it. He's been awarded the Queer Sausage Maker. And, that was a lot of laughs. You couldn't say that today because we're too PC now. But no, look, it was special. And to go to Government House and get it, because I'm from Newtown and my grandma used to live by Government House. So it was very special. Yes.
Definitely. And just before you mentioned you're a big fan of Elvis Presley. So how did you get into that? Was it your parents' influence or?
Oh, no. When I grew up, he was the king, it was rock and roll and he was the man. And, Heartbreak Hotel, Jailhouse Rock, Hound Dog, it was great. I mean, I've got quite a good Elvis collection, actually. A lot of people have seen my Warrior collection, but not many people have seen my Elvis collection, and it's pity I can't show you. I've even got stuff down here. We're coming to you live from Waiheke Island, incidentally, and I've got some Elvis stuff down here, but you can't see it, unfortunately. Yeah.
So how did you end up in the butchery scene? Obviously, it's an interesting sort of career, but how did you get into it?
Well, when you're not very bright, I still don't know my alphabetical times table. You've got to take whatever jobs come along. And there was a job advertised for a butcher's boy in Seatoon in Wellington in a place called Terminus Butchery. And there was no apprenticeship. I went along there. And I'll be honest with you, the first day I started, I was too bloody scared to hop in the fridge. I didn't want to pick the lambs fry up. So my boss said to me, "You're not going to have a bloody very good future in butchery, mate," you know. And it grew on me, and the rest is history, mate. You know, it's been a wonderful journey, and the trade's been very good to me. And, you know, Liam said before, you know, I've done a lot for other people. Well, without the butcher shops, I could never have done it because they gave me the income to do what I done, you know. But I've had many jobs. I was a grave digger in Puera Cemetery here in Auckland. Yeah, but butchering was my passion. Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously the Mad Butcher name's iconic. How did that name come about? Is there a story behind it?
A very good story. There used to be a guy on radio. You'd be too young to know this, but his name was Tim Bickerstaff. He was on Radio Pacific when it first started. He had a sports show at night. And a guy rang me up and he said, "Butcher, you listening to Pacific?" I said, "No." He said, "Oh, Bickerstaff's bag in Mangere East." So me got on the phone and, "Hey, what are you doing?" And we ended up on air having a bet, you know. I said, "I'll drop a check off," but I didn't know he was a professional gambler because I didn't have a lot of money in those days. And a bloke rang me the next morning. There were no mobile phones. He said, "Hey, Butch, you know that guy's a bloody professional gambler, don't you?" I said, "No, I don't." And I left a blank check there, signed. Oh, I couldn't sleep. Anyhow, it was $100. He filled it out for $100, and I lost a couple of bets. And then I always went to I think it was the Warriors Trust Hotel and the private bar to pay him. And this particular night, a guy sung out. Well, he said to me, I got to think, can't remember. I went to pay him this debt, and he said, "You ever thought about advertising?" I said, "Well, not really." So the next night I went back to him and I said, "Well, if I didn't gamble with you, I could spend that money on advertising." He said, "You need a gimmick." And with that, a guy walked into the bar and said, "There's the effing Mad Butcher." So I said to Tim Bickerstaff, "That will do me."
Yeah.
And the main, he said, "You can't use the F word, but you can call it Mad Butcher." So we started off, it was called Rosella Meets the Home of the Mad Butcher. And then another guy on radio called Gordon Dryden said to me one day, "You really want to have one name or the other. Doesn't work with two." So then I dropped the Rosella Meats and called it the Mad Butcher. And it became an iconic brand. I remember a big advertising executive ringing me one day, and he said, "Look, you can't repeat this," he said, "but we've been engaged to organise sponsorship for this big event, and I'm not going to mention the event because it was very popular in Auckland." He said, "But mate, we're having trouble. Everyone thinks you're the major advertiser." He said, "You realise your brand is so strong, it's nearly as good as Coca-Cola in this country." But see, pardon me, I used to do any radio interview anyone wanted. If they were desperate, they'd bring me out and I'd go on it because it was all publicity for me. It was never Peter Leitch, it was always the Mad Butcher. So yeah, it's been a good brand. Pardon me.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So now talking a bit about rugby league. So rugby league's been a massive passion of yours. What got you into the sport?
Here again, my first butcher shop was in Rosella Road, Mangere.
Yeah.
And the local chairman of the club, Mangare's Hawks, used to come and buy meat. He said to me one day, "Why don't you sponsor us?" I said, "Well, if you tell me what sponsor is, I'll give it a bit of thought." I had no idea, mate. And I come from a working class family and I knew nothing about that sort of thing. So we started off, I gave them a few meat packs. And one day he said, "Why don't you come down to the club and meet a few of the guys?" I went down there, the strict line, read out the cork bottle. And I thought, "Oh, it's do me." And it was mostly Mary Island guys, working class guys, my sort of people. And that's where the love for rugby league started.
Yeah.
And look, we often, when I see some of the former Mangere East boys, we often joke and say, can you bloody believe I went on to manage the Kiwis to victory? I think, I can name drop with the best when it comes to rugby league. I can, personal friends with Gordon Tallis, Andrew Johns, and that's not big no. Actually, they are mates. I've had Andrew Johns and Gordon Tallis to Waiheke, great guys. But, as well as Kiwi guys, Sean Johnson. Sean Johnson flew over here the other week for a wedding after their last game. He was best man at his mate's wedding. Anyhow, cut long story short, a couple of flights got delayed and he got here not in time for the actual ceremony, but he was able to make the speech. Because he wanted to go home because his wife and daughter are still here in New Zealand, he missed the last bus to the wharf. And so the security guard only told me this today, to be fair. He took Sean to the wharf, and Sean put his hand on his shoulder when they got to the wharf and said, make sure if you see the butcher, you tell him I love him and keep well. Yeah, Sean's a lovely guy. So, I've just met, it's unbelievable the journey I've had. I mean, Jesus, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how I got involved, through the Mangries talks.
Yeah. You obviously threw your support to the Warriors early. What's it like seeing a club like that starting off and then being for such a long history?
Can I ask you how old you are, Josh?
19.
19, you're a baby.
Yeah.
You weren't even born when we started.
I know, yeah.
I remember as a rugby league fan, standing on the bank at our first game and crying. You might say to me, Josh, well, why would you cry? Mate, I could not believe that many people would come to a rugby league game. Mount Smart Stadium was packed to the gunnels. And for rugby league, we'd pack Carlo Park out, but Carlo Park didn't hold that many people, It was incredible. It was and to see the team run out, unbelievable. I've got a photo of Dean Bell up there, actually. Well, not a photo, it's a character. I mean, he runs a motel over the shore now, but just an incredible night. And the journey's been incredible, And in those early days, rugby and league were that far apart, but they've come together a long way, And there was a time, and John Kerwin said this on the TV last night, there was a bit of, I don't know the word he used, but a bit of anti-league in rugby circles. Mate, I sponsored university and I had a small sponsorship at university rugby. And I love all sports, but rugby league is my passion. Yeah.
Obviously, the first game is a big highlight for all Warriors fans. What's some other highlights that stand out in the Warriors' journey?
Oh, for me, taking the Prime Minister to the grand final in 2011, John Key. Not every day you get to take the Prime Minister to the grand final, and particularly, after the game, it takes you an hour and a half to get to the game. Well, after the game, I jumped in the Prime Minister's car and was back in town in 10 minutes, and I left my wife at the bloody stadium. Yeah, I wasn't too popular for a few days, I can tell you. Look, I've had many, lovely moments. I've had players do nice things for me, and it's hard to pick. But I would say that the opening night was one, and the other is going. The club sent me in 2002. I think we're in a semi-final or grand final. I can't remember, and they sent me over as the advance guard, and I was like a rock star. All these people wanting to interview me and that, And the thing about me, I don't know a lot about rugby league. You see, what people don't realise, for me, to build my business, I had to be focused and work really hard, because I was swimming against the tide. I was battling the supermarkets. I was battling the fact that I wasn't, really intelligent, and so I was swimming against the tide. So rugby league for me was my, my relaxation.
Yeah.
And so I've never wanted to know all the rules in that, There's other ways you can get on, but I have plenty of people know I was nearly going to swear then, a lot more about rugby league than I do, But with passion, I'm right up there with the best. And the one thing I don't like being called is the number one fan, because that's very unfair. We have so many good fans out there, and I'm lucky. I've met a lot of them, beautiful fans. I might be the highest profile supporter they've got because of my media coverage and all that sort of carry on, but I'm certainly not the number one. There are plenty of people out there that, deserve that title. Yeah.
Yeah. I always wondered why the number 19 jersey was retired, and for you, you got the jersey retired for you. Is that true?
That's 100% true.
Yeah.
And I'm amazed myself, to be fair, but that's life. I believe they should have given that to Stacey Jones, because he's the icon of the club. But they decided to do that, and they also gave me, which I don't have it with me because I didn't know I thought, funny enough, I thought we were going to be talking about the Tongan rugby game coming up. So I don't know where I got that from. Shows you how bright I am. They let me just think. We had a function and they got me on stage, and if you play 100 games, you get a ring. Okay. Now, why they give players rings, I don't know, because half the players never wear them. But they gave me that ring, and then they named the 19 jersey after me. And earlier this year, when the team came out, they named the player number 19. And let me tell you, the proverbial hit the fan, not by me, but by other people got hold of the club. What are you doing? The butcher's number 19. And the manager, who's a lovely guy, said, "Oh, that was a mistake. Someone made a mistake there, but yeah. So you'd have to ask. I think it was Mick Watson that gave it to me. Yeah. But I think it was just recognition, for what I've done for the game and the club, Yeah.
Yeah, well, the Warriors have had, again, you've said, amazing players over the years. Do you have a couple favourites or a couple people that stand out over the years?
Oh, Stacey Jones, of course. His birthday's May the 7th. Mine's May the 8th. For his 21st birthday, I took him out to it's a restaurant in Parnell. It's closed now. I took the coach, the CEO, the trainer. I took about 10. I got that drunk. Took 2 of them to put me in a taxi. Everyone had a few, I can tell you. And I took him 21 presents, and he didn't want to open them in the restaurant. I said, "No, you got to bloody open them." And he had to open them because Stacey's a very humble and a little bit shy, to be fair. Yeah. But we had a great night. We often talk about it, to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he would be one. Jason Death, he lived at my home for some time, and we stay in contact. Kevin Campion stayed at my place for a couple of months. Another great guy. Big tough man on the field, pussycat off the field. And every night when the dishes were ready to be done, he would get a phone call.
Oh, no.
What he'd do, he used to push his little button, send his wife a message, and she'd ring. Yeah, so he didn't have to do the dishes. But look, to be honest, I've never met a player I didn't like in the Warriors. And I've got on well with most of them. You don't get close to every one of them because it's just impossible. You know what I mean? But certainly there have been some like, Stacey, Arwen, Motu Tony, that I've got close to over the years, and I still stay in touch with a lot of players, There's one guy, I can't remember his name now. He wasn't a high profile player, but he came over to Waiheke for a motion. And from that, we've just stayed in touch, and he's living in Rome or somewhere now, playing rugby league of all the places, But no, look, for me personally, it's been a wonderful journey, absolutely wonderful. In actual fact, that's a trophy there. Special award, Special Achievement Award 2001 to Peter Charles Leitch, QSM, the 19th Warrior.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So the Mad Butcher Club was a staple at Mount Smart. It was sad to see the doors closed. Who were some like the notable names that went to your box?
Oh, mate. I've had prime ministers, Alan Clark, John Key. I've had the bosses of the NRL. The thing is, my lounge was not PC, and that's why I gave it away. I gave it away about 2 or 3 months before lockdown, before COVID. I decided we're 2 PC now. So, I'm an old school. I'm 78, and we done that. We had a couple of reunions. But I used to I remember I've had 4 lounges that I've had to use, and I remember one night we got the whole Melbourne Storm up the lounge, we've had some great people and players, Wally Lewis reckoned my last lounge, which was in the West End, would be one of the best views to watch a game, and what's the club, what the club's done for our first home game this year, they want me to have that lounge again.
Yeah.
But I won't have all my memorabilia in there because that's all gone. But we're going to have a bit of fun anyhow, And God, we used to have some fun, And I used to have a sign up. When we're on the mic, no talking.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised I'd have to abuse, because I always said the players didn't have to come up. They come up because they wanted to come up. And so we had to show them respect and listen to what they had. And you'd be surprised at people like that. One bloke actually cried one night. He cried because I told him off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of great memories, but certainly a lot of good people. The Minister of Police, Judith Collins, come up once because I was patron of a police wing, and I took them all to a game, and she come. We had a lot of MPs and that, because to be fair, it became the place to be seen, at Mount Smart. It was, people wanted to come, and you can only have, I think, 225 in the room under health and safety, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. No,
but a lot of great memories. Yeah.
I remember for my 13th birthday, I'm from Wellington. My dad flew me up to Auckland. I went into the lounge. So yeah, I just loved the memorabilia there, and it was awesome seeing the players after a game. Yeah. It's awesome.
Whereabouts are you in Wellington, Josh?
I'm in Johnsonville. Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, I was down there last week to a funeral.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm a Newtown boy. Yeah. So you got up there, and how old were you?
I think it was my 13th birthday, and you gave me like a cap and stuff, and it was awesome. So thank you for that.
Yeah. And I swore a lot, didn't I?
Yeah.
We say to people, it's not ideal it's not a lounge suitable for children, but if you want to bring your children, you can bring them. And there's one guy who's a really nice guy. He's got 2 boys, and he brings them, and I'm going to have some fun with them on the 3rd of July, because they're good kids, and they're about 14 or 15 now. But from early stages, they used to give me arseholes. They'd run around when I was on the mic and this, But we never tried to offend people. We might have embarrassed them, but it was all in good humour. And I tell you the thing that I'm proud about. When I closed that lounge, someone said, why don't we have a reunion, Butch? Like a farewell. So we had a farewell at Ellerslie, and 98% of the lounge members come. They had to pay, of course, We had a night, we had a couple of guest artists. But then what happened? A couple of them said to me, we'd like to come to Waiheke to watch the game, Butch. And 90% of the lounge come over. Now they have to pay their fares, and there was a meal being supplied they had to pay for. And that's how much the lounge meant to people. You know what I mean? Just to show you, I'm also a rugby man. That's Ponsonby Rugby there. Ponsonby Rugby. I can't show you that.
That's all right.
No, it's all right. You'll have to take my word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back a bit, people know you as well you managed the Kiwis in 2005. What was that like? That must have been an awesome experience doing that.
It was like being in heaven, mate.
Yeah.
We're leaving to go, and a guy comes up to me who I respect in rugby league, knows a bit about rugby league. He said, Butch, you're wasting your time, mate. You got no show over there. And yeah, I panicked a little bit. I said to Brian McLennan on the plane, I said, yeah, bloke just told me we got no bloody show. Brian said, don't you worry, Butch. We love winning. And to beat Australia 24-0 in the final was unbelievable. No one predicted it, not even the Mad Butcher predicted it, you know, but we did. And we had a lovely get-together when we got back here. I took them to, there's a restaurant downtown. It's a good restaurant, but it's not a fancy restaurant. It's good seafood and that. And I remember one player said, oh, they got oysters, Butch, can I have some? I said, of course you can. I'll have 3,000, he said to the waiter. Yeah, but we had a great time. It was very special, mate. And Brian McLennan, great man. Ruben Wiki was the captain, another fantastic fella. But let me tell you, it's not easy being the manager. You got to be strict. I had to tell a few players, we're not here for a bloody holiday. We're here to win. If you don't like it, you can go bloody home, you know. But certainly in 2006, we just got. I put a book out, The Year the Kiwis Flew, and if I'd have known, I would have had a copy here to show you. And that sold quite a bit. Told the journey through.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell you specifics, but the road to victory wasn't easy. We had a couple of setbacks. We got hammered in a game, you know, had to come back from that. But the main thing is, in the series, people only remember the final.
Correct.
24-0. And some league people that have been around league longer than I have said that was the turning point for rugby league. Things started to pick up then. Yeah. Great memories. Yep.
Yeah. So how do you feel about a potential second New Zealand rugby league team? And where do you think it should be? Do you think it should be in Wellington or somewhere else? Or
well, personally, I don't think the game's big enough here yet for two teams.
Yeah.
You've got to have sponsorship. You got to have people through the term stuff. And even the Warriors, the last few years, we haven't been getting sellout crowds, you know. John Kerwin, you should go back and listen to John Kerwin on Sky TV interviewing John Kerwin last night. It does replay during the week. Yeah. John Kerwin said one of the Ian Robson, the CEO of the Warriors, got them one day. And he said, they never let me catch you ever drinking a drink apart from DB Bitter, which wasn't a great drink, to be fair. Mentioned a couple of other sponsors. They pay our wages, you know, and that's very, and I think it would be hard, you know, and my personal choice would be Christchurch for South Island people. I mean, not everyone can afford to come up to Auckland, fly up or drive up. It's a hell of a drive, you know what I mean? And so it would be fair to put it in Christchurch, but I just don't think the game's big enough, you know. Yeah. And COVID has put a real spoke in the wheels in more ways than one, you know. Yeah.
Do you think due to COVID as well, just bringing that up, a lot of players from the Warriors won't want to come home to New Zealand or want to stay in Australia?
You know, I can't answer that question because I don't know half the players. I hardly know any of the players, you know. It's embarrassing to admit it, but they're in Australia, I'm here. Look, I think the Kiwi players will want to come home. But look, who knows? I mean, COVID's very strange. Look, I just spoke to a neighbour up the road. I hadn't seen her for a while. He said, I've been crook as a dog with COVID. See, one of the things that scares me, a lot of people have got arrogant and think COVID's all over. But COVID's not over. It's still there, and you have to be careful, you know. When will it go away? Who knows? I mean, geez, it's a nightmare, you know. Yeah, see, I was nervous flying to Wellington the other week for this funeral, you know. But anyhow, we did. I'm still here and I've got COVID here.
Yeah. And lastly, just before we wrap up, I know you've said it over a lot of your career and you must get asked this a lot, but could you say the Mad Butcher slogan for us?
Hold myself up here, boys. Get your old mate, the Mad Butcher. You can't beat the Mad Butcher's meat. And they got rump steak at $6.99 a kilo. Oh, yes, some money back guarantee. Only the Mad Butcher, the best in the world. Yeah.
Let's go.
78
Well done.
still got
Thank
it,
you
boys.
so much.
Yeah. Nice to meet you both.
Yeah.
Now,
thank
Josh,
you. Yep.
Josh, I want you to text me your address
Okay.
and I'll send you down a current Warrior post. Now, you're not going to get one, man, because you haven't got a Warrior thing on.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay.
I'm a Newcastle Knights fan, so
Oh, bang, bang.
Yeah.
But Josh, no, I'll send you one from as well, Josh.
Awesome.
Where do you live, Liam?
I'm in Auckland. I'm over in the West Harbour, Hobsonville area.
Okay. Well, if you both send me your address, I'll send you a poster, Rich. Nice to talk to you, boys. Keep smiling. And remember this, it's only a game. No one died. And we get to play again the next week. Because a lot of people get upset. I've had a lot of people contacting me about the Warriors. And there's no question last week it wasn't good. But am I going to lose any sleep over it? No, I'm not, because no one died. And that's how I got to know Graham Henry. When he lost the World Cup, I told him that. But anyhow, nice to talk to you both. Stay well, stay safe, and go the mighty Vodafone Warriors.